Welcome back, Internet, to another Reddit Stories. We're back to Tales from the Customer. By the time you're watching this video, we've probably already hit 800 subscribers, so hooray, we're getting there, guys! Someone has been taking my food. I pay for it online so I can just grab it and go. Has anything like this happened to anyone else? So, the past 2 weeks have been a little weird. Last week I ordered sushi from my place in my hometown that I've been going to since they opened. I was running slightly behind in picking up the food as I was coming from a few towns over, and it was the beginning of rush hour. When I went into the restaurant to get my food, they said it had already been picked up and it must have been my husband. I told them, no, my husband was with me. We just drove over to pick this up together. They then apologized and said that they must have given the wrong order to the man that came in earlier. I thought this was strange, as they've always asked for my name and phone number, but tried not to think too much of it because, hey, we're all human and mistakes happen. Fast forward to this past weekend. My husband asks to order from his favorite sushi place one town over from us. I agree to pick it up on my way back from my parents' house, which is about 20 to 30 minutes away. I get there and I'm told that a man just came in and picked up my order. The woman was really perplexed and horrified. I said, maybe my husband thought I wanted him to pick up the food? Let me try and call him. Come to find out, my husband was just getting home from work when I called and did not pick up the food. The woman profusely apologized and agreed to have the order remade and delivered with no extra charge, so I headed towards home. I called my mom and asked her if she thinks the two incidences are a coincidence. She said if they are, it's a very strange coincidence. I then receive a phone call from the manager. Let's call him Jim. Jim further vets me with questions about where my husband was, because this man came to pick up my food and he had my name and phone number. I started to panic, and Jim realizes that I'm not just trying to get more food. And he knows we're loyal customers for over 2 years at this point. He apologizes and tries to describe the man. At this point, I head to both towns, hometown and town over where the second restaurant is located, police departments to file a police report for identity theft. Both restaurants have cameras and, thanks to my apps, giving me exact times when I ordered so I can give them a clear 45-minute window to check the footage of each place. I know it's not a huge thing, but I feel violated and angry. I was by myself. What could have happened had I walked in when the guy was claiming to be there to pick up my food? Does he know where I live? How did he get my information? Has this specific type of situation happened to anyone else? Currently, the police have an open investigation going and said where the cameras were placed in the second restaurant, it didn't seem likely they would be able to ID the guy. I intend to press charges to the full extent if they find him. In the meantime, I have changed all my passwords and I've been paranoid that someone had been following me. I just got off the phone with a detective and I think we might set up a sting to try to catch this guy. It's been a fun Memorial Day weekend, y'all. So, what's weird about this story is, let's just say it is someone that's like hacking into her phone and getting her information off of where she's placing orders at, getting contact information, whatever. It would have to be a strange coincidence that that same person lives within 15 minutes of her, right? I guess, unless the guy's just looking by area and she was just by chance near this guy or whoever's coming in and picking up her sushi, but like identity theft and stealing sushi, it just seems like that. It just seems like that's like lowball criminal activity, right? Like if you're hacking into someone's phone, I'm sure it's up to a felony or some sort of communications crime, and you're gonna go and steal sushi. And the second part is, if this guy is really into her phone or into communications, you probably shouldn't write on Reddit where you're going to try to set up a sting to catch this guy, because guess who knows now? You advertised free breakfast? So my husband and I recently went on vacation. It was awesome. I have no complaints about anything but the hotel. I understand when you use budget options, there'll be certain luxuries that you don't get, but seriously, this was ridiculous. We got to the hotel and we were trying to figure out where to park. This was after spending 3 hours at the car rental place with terrible traffic on the way there. I was not a happy camper. I entered the hotel and asked the guy about parking. It turns out they didn't have any, which they didn't bother to mention on the website. There were 5 legal spots that you can park in on the road, and the rest for this 34-room hotel were illegal. He said it'd be a gamble, but the cops usually don't ticket those spots. We were there 6 days and saw cops there twice or more in a day, at least 4 days. Luckily, sort of, They had to deal with another big name hotel across the street where we could use their parking for $20-ish for 24 hours of parking. Except he didn't say where it was. He just pointed in a vague direction in the city we weren't familiar with. So when I called, he got an uncalled for, exasperated tone with me, saying, "It's right where I pointed." "You don't point very well, senor." Whatever. Parking is done, that's the worst it could get, we thought. Well, they also said they had free breakfast on the website, which really meant free breakfast for one day of your entire stay, and then 10% off at the restaurant downstairs. And oh, when we tell you where it is, it's not just there. We looked on 3 or 4 different occasions where they pointed. No breakfast. The elevator smelled rusty and may have been able to fit 4 people. The room was so small, I could not access the shower if my husband was on the toilet, because his knees would hit the wall. There was no refrigerator or ice scoop for the public ice machine. The place was a mess. It taught me not to splurge on a hotel. Huh, whatever. So, I mainly tell you this story to tell you one of my stories. Of course I do. It wouldn't be my channel if I didn't have any stories. So, I live in Utah, and I would travel down to Vegas probably on average twice a year, just for vacation. I do have some relatives that live down there, but mainly it was just for vacation. So I used to go all the time. I used to stay at some of the more known hotels down there on the strip, like the Excalibur, the New York. Sometimes I'd stay at Circus. You know, kind of the lower end main hotels there. But after the economy started to pick back up about 7 or so years ago, they started to have what are called hotel fees, which you go on different websites like Excalibur, Circus, Luxor, whatever. You go on their websites and they say, oh, $79 a night. Pretty reasonable for a night in Vegas, I guess. And then you go and check out and it's like, oh, it's $130. It's like, wait a minute, how did that price go up? It's like, oh, you also have hotel fees. So they advertise the $79 a night. They get you to commit to staying there, or at least not fully commit, but they get you to the idea of staying there at the hotel. And then they pretty much got you at that point. Like a lot of the hotels there, almost every one of them on the strip now has these hotel fees, which if you ask them what the hotel fee is, it's like, oh, well, you have access to our spa or our workout room, I guess. And it's like, no, you just want to advertise a lower price so you can get people to look at your hotel, and then they get sideswiped with this extra $30 a night for staying at your hotel. And then about a year or two ago, went to Vegas with a couple of friends. We stayed at the Link, which is, it used to be the Imperial Palace back in the day, but they've renovated it. It's the place with the big Ferris wheel that's there on the strip. I knew about hotel fees, whatever, but we're splitting it 4 ways, so it's like, yeah, whatever. But we get to check in, and then they also have a parking fee. You have to pay to park to stay at the hotel. Like, I thought, like, surely that they would have just parking, because you need to have a place to park your car to stay there, right? But no, they charge you $10 a day to park there at the hotel on top of staying there. How ridiculous is that? Now when I go to Vegas, if I'm just going by myself or with just another person, I'm just staying off the strip to like Motel 6 type of places. They don't have hotel fees, and it just costs maybe $10 to have an Uber take you to the strip, or even you could just even walk there. It's not that big of a deal. You're walking in Vegas anyway. Cashier tries to sign me up for a loyalty program even after I said no. Today, my mom, my brother, and I went to the mall to go shopping. I stepped into one store because I saw a super cute pair of shorts. I tried them on, they fit, and then I went to the counter to purchase them. The cashier was already there, but she had her back to me, folding some pants. I waited her to finish and noticed me, but she took her pants and walked right by me and started putting them away. I assumed maybe she was going to put them away and come right back, but she didn't say anything and was taking a while. I kind of just stood there awkwardly, waiting for her to finish, until another employee noticed me and got the cashier's attention. The cashier wasn't in a hurry though. She finished putting the pants away and slowly walked back to the counter. I don't see how she couldn't have seen me earlier when she walked by me. I was right in front of her. It was odd, but I just wanted my pair of shorts and to go look around the mall some more. The cashier lady rung up my shorts and asked if I want to join the loyalty program. I said, no thanks, and she replied, it will only take a minute. I said, I'm fine, thanks. But she said, it's totally free. It will only take a minute. I said, no, I'm good. And then she asked for my email. I was confused and asked, oh, do I have to give you my email? And she said, yes. I was still pretty confused, but I gave it to her. And then she asked for my name. I gave it to her. I don't work retail, but I do work fast food, and I understand how frustrating customers can be sometimes. I didn't want to cause a fuss, and I just assumed that maybe the rules had changed and they did need an email name for every transaction? I wasn't sure, but didn't want to be rude. However, I saw in the debit machine that it asked if I wanted something like loyalty points, and then she went ahead and pressed yes. This is when I asked, am I signing up for the program? She said, yes, I thought you wanted to. No, I said I was fine. Oh, sorry. It was such a half-hearted sorry, and at this point, I just wanted to pay and leave. I quickly paid with my debit card, and she put my receipt in the bag, telling me a spiel about how I'm going to get some thing online saving blah 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 for $50. I don't even know. I didn't listen. I really wanted just one pair of shorts. I thanked her and walked out. I'm still a little annoyed. I know retail cashiers are pushed to ask customers to sign up for the program, but I felt like I was literally being forced into it. Almost every store at the mall is the same way, and after today's trip, I'm exhausted and I honestly don't feel like going back to the mall for a really long time. Working in the pharmacy, they had us get people's email addresses too. I never asked for someone's email address ever, even when they told us to push it, because my whole thing is like, why am I asking for their email address? They're coming in and picking up prescriptions. I even asked my boss at the time. I just said, so they think that we're just going to send them stuff. No, we don't send them stuff, she would say, and I'm like, then why are we asking for an email address if we're not going to send them anything? There has to be a reason why we're asking for their email address. Otherwise, why are we asking for it? I would never get a good response. I would always just be told, Chris, just ask for the email address. And I would say, okay, will do. And then I never asked for the email address because I knew that they were just going to try to send him stuff and just spam mail him all this stuff, because why else would you ask for an email address? All they're doing is just coming in and picking up prescriptions. Like, email does not have to be involved in this transaction. Thank you again for joining me on this Reddit story thing. Tales from the Customer. Well, thanks for watching. If you liked what you saw, thumbs up, share it with a friend, and subscribe if you haven't. So I guess I'll see you guys in the next video. So until then, later kids.